What's going on, y'all? Chuck Nunface here. Wanted to take a few minutes to talk about this one right here. This is one that just came to me. I bought it off my friend Doug, aka the Shutter Doug. And it's an Emerson, and if you follow my channel for any length of time, you know that I've had a lot of Emersons. I kind of sold a whole bunch of them off, but I'm kind of getting a few back in here and there as time and funds and availability allows and everything else. So this is the ETAK-B. So this is one that I've never handled before until obviously very, very recently. And Doug is liquidating a lot of his collection. He had a lot of Emersons because he made custom scales for them. He has since made a decision based on events in his life that he is not going to be making scales anymore. And so he's getting rid of a lot of his Emersons. I'm sure he's probably keeping a couple for, personal use and everything, personal use, and everything else. But he's liquidating the vast majority of his collection. And I've dealt with Doug for a very long time. He's a friend of mine. We talk a lot on Instagram. I think we have each other's phone numbers. I'm not sure, but in any case, he's a friend of mine. So I'm a big fan of his work and just of him as a person as well. And so I've owned several scales that Doug made in the past. And this one, I didn't realize it when he announced that it was going to be available. I didn't realize that it was going to come with scales until I was like, yeah, I want to get that one. And he was like, hey, cool, check it out. It's also got some scales as well. So I was like, all right, even better. And so, yeah, it's the ETAK-B, but it's also got these awesome, I believe it's rich light. Kind of maroon and black pattern rich light. They're very smooth, and they feel fantastic, and they add a nice bit of thickness to the handle as well, because these aftermarket scales are a little bit thicker. They almost feel like wood. I mean, it is a phenolic resin like micarta. It's very similar to that, but it's just a little bit of a different composition, I guess. I don't know exactly the difference between rich light and micarta, but it's a similar type of material. And they're awesome. They feel so great in hand. And this is a knife that I don't know when the last time they made this. I want to say Emerson put this out fairly recently, within the last several months. I feel like I saw it on the website, but I'm not 100% sure if I was just imagining it or not. I think the last time they for sure offered them, if I'm wrong about them having them on their website recently, which I don't think I am, but I could be. Let me know in the comments if you've seen them on the site in the past few months, that they did a run of these. I think it was like 2014, maybe 2016, something like that. It was a while ago. I'm not sure. So don't quote me on those numbers. But yeah, I think it's just a very cool looking knife. That's a really aggressive Tanto blade profile right there. CPM 154, typical for Emerson. They are starting to get into magnet cut, but this one's not magnet cut. And I did a little reading on the knife, and I guess it is purpose built for combat. So it's the Emerson Tactical Assault Knife. I think that's what it is. The Emerson Tactical Assault Knife, ETAK. That's what it stands for. And this is the B blade, which means Tanto, which would imply the existence of an A, like a drop point style blade, which I've never seen, but I'm sure it exists. I think I saw a review on the website about an A. But in any case, yeah, clearly this is the B, the Tanto style. And it's a really aggressive, and I guess, kind of reading into it, and then I discovered that it is combat oriented. I was like, all right, makes sense, because it's a very aggressive Tanto point right there with the drop in there and the swedge, and then the longer flat part right here going into the Kasaki, the longer part of the tip, so you get more. It's not Hisatsu style, but it is a longer Tanto than a lot of Tantos out there. So I think that's very cool. It's certainly capable of EDC. I've been carrying it this weekend, and I haven't done a whole lot with it. I've only had the knife for a few days. I haven't done much with it, but it's definitely got a very aggressive blade profile, which I think is really cool, and I'm sure it'll be just fine for EDC as well. I do have this lanyard that It Isn't Dan kind of included when he sent me that EDC tray that he 3D printed. So I would imagine this is 3D printed also. Could be wrong, but I think it is. And honestly, it fits so well. I wasn't really looking to put a lanyard on this, but I was like, I think I have that lanyard bead that Dan made. And yeah, it's kind of like a dark red and black, and it fits perfectly with the scale. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll go ahead and I'll just slap that on there too. And I grabbed my We the People, yeah, I got it the right way, We the People clip, pulled that out of the little Emerson goodie bag that I have, and put that on there. And then I put that gray Precision. Now it's purple, but it's a dark purple and it's matte, so I think it works fine with this. I think titanium or black or something like that might work a little bit better, but you know, it's dark purple, it's barely noticeable, and I think it does complement it well enough. And so I put that on there too, so that I got the oversized disc on there as well. The one thing that I would say is a negative about this knife, and it's just based on the design, is it's a really high pocket clip. I mean, the pocket clip placement is like this right here. So it kind of reminds me of the EX100, where it's going to be a comically high clip. And I don't know if that's because, you know, they put this big lanyard slot, I should say, in there. It would make more sense, I think, if they brought it back and maybe angled the clip, something like that, but that's not really Emerson style. So when you have this in your pocket, you got about that much coming out of your pocket right there. So it's deep carry, it is not. So if you did want to deep carry this or put an aftermarket clip on it, it's a good candidate for an MXG or a Lynch Northwest or even an Emerson deep carry clip, even though Emerson deep carry clips really aren't my favorite. I don't like the way they terminate into this point right there. I don't like the point. It gets caught on things. But I digress. So it would be a good candidate for a deep carry clip if you were so inclined, just to get it a little bit lower in the pocket. But yeah, that's really it on this. I don't know if I'm going to actually review this. We'll see. But I just wanted to kind of talk about it for a little bit because I think it's a really cool design, and they're not super popular, available out there, whatever you want to say. And so I figured I'd showcase it on the channel at least a little bit here, talk about it a little bit. But yeah, go ahead and check out the Shutter Doug on Instagram. I'll link his Instagram profile. I think he puts the knives up in his story, and if they don't sell quickly, he'll put them on Blade Binge. He may be going directly to Blade Binge. I don't know. I'll go ahead and link Blade Binge in my in the description as well. And so you can check out what he has available there, because he's got a lot of Emersons. So if you're in the market for an Emerson, maybe a harder to find one, something that's out of production, definitely keep your eyes open for that. So yeah, it's a shame that he's getting out of scale making. He's really good at it, but it's just one of those things where people make personal choices. I'm not going to get into those choices. That's his business. But I think it's all for the best. I don't think it's a negative thing, but I mean, people, they got to do what's best for themselves and their families and everything else. And so he's no longer making scales. And so it would be your chance to maybe seek him out to pick up an Emerson as he's selling them. And they may even have some that include some aftermarket scales on them. So go ahead and check that out. Be on the lookout for that. So that's going to do it for me. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Follow me on Instagram at Chuck_Nunface. Follow my backup, Chuck_Nunlimited. And keep your eyes open. And maybe more on this one, but I do have some other things in the pipeline as well, so stay tuned.